So I think another example problem of how to do kind of this training wheels version of row echelon form would be helpful. Before we start, let's just remind ourselves of our goal, which is to make the left side of the dotted line look like the identity matrix, and the right side will eventually give us the values of x and y. So this is number 7 from your homework, just an example problem I've pulled. And I'm just looking at it for a minute, and I don't see any immediate ones or zeros. So we've got to do a little bit of tweaking. A reminder, there's only 3 things we can do to these systems. One is swap rows. 2 is multiply by a constant. And 3, add them together and replace. So here, looking at number 7, I don't see anything that immediately jumps out to me like this, but I do notice this. We have -8, -16, and 24. Those are all factors of 8. So if I were to multiply by 1 over -8, let's just see what happens. So the top row will stay the same. Remember, you can only do one thing to a row at a time. Don't try to do too much, you will make mistakes. But let's just multiply this by 1 over -8 to the second row and see what we get. Well, that'll become 1, that will become 2, and this will become -3. I just took each of those and divided by -8. Hey, now we have a 1. So let's go ahead and just swap the rows. Specifically, I'm taking R2 and putting it into R1. So that'll be 1, 2, -3 over 10, 8, and 30. If you don't see something that'll automatically become 1, that's okay. Try making a 0, like this. So I see that we have a 1 here, and a 1 is a really good recipe for making the one thing underneath it or above it, in this case the 10, equal to 0. It's really easy because when you multiply 1 by a number, it can automatically become that. So I'm thinking to myself that -10 plus 10 would equal to 0. So let's go ahead and multiply R1 by 10. We're going to multiply that by 10. Actually, let's multiply it by -10, because that's actually what we want. So let's go ahead. I'm just going to erase that and try again. We're going to multiply R1 by -10. Then we're going to add it to R2. And all this will replace R2. So let's go ahead and do that. So this will become -10, -20, and +30. All right, let's add them together and see what we get. So -10 plus 10, that'll become 0. -20 plus 8, that becomes -12. And 30 plus 30, that'll be 60. Okay, that's looking promising. As always, you only replace one row at a time, so this will just go back to how it was. Okay, good. So we managed to get 1, 0. We're about halfway to it looking like the identity matrix. Well, next thing I'm noticing is we have -12 and 60, and if we divide by -12, those would be neutralized. Those would go away. So let's do it. Let's take 1/12 negative of R2. The top stays the same. We get 0, 1. 60 divided by negative 12 would be negative 5. Okay. We're almost done. We've got 3/4 of where we want to be. The only thing that's different is the 2. Well, how do we get rid of the 2? Well, once again, we have a 1, and a 1 makes things equal to 0 very easily, because we can just simply multiply by whatever it would take to add to 2 to make that equal to 0. So in this case, that would be negative 2. So let's go ahead. Ooh, I'm going to switch that back. Let's go ahead, just erase that. Go back to black. I'm going to multiply R2 by negative 2. So let's do that. Negative 2 times 0 is 0. Negative 2 times R1 is going to be negative 2. And negative 2 times negative 5 is going to be positive 10. All right, well, let's add them together and replace for R1. So that will become 1 plus 0 is 1. 2 plus negative 2 is 0. Negative 10 plus negative 3 is going to be negative 7. We have 0, 1, negative 5. Hey, and there's our answer. Our answer is negative 5, 7. All right. My advice to you is if you're still confused about what to do, is try to just get something to fit our goal. Whatever it is, if it's not obvious to you how to make a 1, make a 0. Because once you have a 0, it's really easy to divide by something to get 1. Just double check your math, make sure that you're doing everything the way you're supposed to be doing it. And then let me know if you've got additional questions about specific problems.